Before we get started, please go over to Amazon.com and grab a copy of my book, Education and Justice. If you have an African-American son in public school, you need this book because I teach you the many ways that public schools mistreat African-American boys and what you can do to help your son. So go over there and get your copy immediately. Trump thanked blacks both times he won the presidency, acknowledging that he wouldn't have won without our votes or without us staying home and not voting.
To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come.
We don't ever again want to hear a white supremacist say, "Thank you for not voting or voting for me." Never again. That makes no sense. That is asininity. We will not be used like that again. We will not help white supremacists hurt us because it tells us if African Americans need anything, we need strong leadership and a strategy. So I want to offer a strategy. I call it Advance 2026, which is a strategic plan to take back Congress in 2026. Now, before I get started, do me a favor. Like the video, share this video, comment on this video, every single one of you. This helps YouTube push out the video via its algorithm. Also, shoot out 3 hashtags. Hashtag Black Votes Decide 2026. Shoot out hashtag AAMKA, AAMKA, and shoot out hashtag Advance 2026. All right, let me go over those again. Hashtag Black Votes Decide 2026. Hashtag AAMKA, AAMKA, and hashtag Advance 2026. Now, my team created Advance 2026 before the 2024 election with the hopes that Kamala would win the election. Well, unfortunately and sadly, that didn't happen. Trump is back in office, and now we are facing an all-out attack on our rights, our votes, our future, etc. So we had to modify Advance 2026 from the ground up to meet the urgency of this moment. First, we had to change our mission statement. Now the mission statement says, our mission is flipping Congress in 2026 by determining our political destiny, drowning out disinformation, and disregarding distractions. Every D word in that mission statement matters because in 2024, too many of us stayed home. Too many of us fell for lies. Too many of us voted for Trump. And now we're facing the consequences. For example, Trump may get the opportunity to appoint more far-right justices to the Supreme Court and a whole lot of far-right judges to federal benches across the nation. Also, Congress may get the opportunity to enact the SAVE Act, which is another voter suppression law designed to block millions of black voters from registering. Trump's executive orders are attacking civil rights protections, including DEI policies that involve the workplace, that involve the economy, and so much more. He also has opened an assault on public education, including defunding schools in majority black districts and censoring black history and defunding or even destroying the Department of Education. He plans to expand stop and frisk and gutting federal investigations, civil rights investigations into police violence. And he wants to give cops prosecution immunity. He's replacing many blacks, including high black officials, high-ranking officials, with MAGA extremists, and they will do nothing but dismantle civil rights enforcement and our democracy. I warned you every day last year this would happen. And I can tell you from reading and studying and making videos about Project 2025, this is only the beginning of what Trump and MAGA have planned. In fact, this is only the first month of his term. We have literally 47 more months of this. The blacks who voted for him really, really screwed up badly, including those who stayed home. You may say, why am I so hard on blacks who voted for Trump or stayed home? Well, it's really simple. Trump and MAGA see blacks as true enemies. They may hide behind immigrants, they may hide behind transgender issues, but they are white supremacists who only use blacks to protect white supremacy. This fight has always been about race since 1619. It's not about immigration. It's not about abortion. It's not about LGBTQ+. Again, they merely hide behind those issues to disguise their true intent. But here's the good news. We African Americans have the power to flip Congress in 2026, and I'm going to prove it. And we're going to do it. Now, let's get into some numbers. In 2024, African Americans accounted for 11% of all voters. That's about 17 million black votes out of 156 million total ballots cast. Now let's talk about what happened. Donald Trump received about 77 million votes. Kamala Harris received about 75 million votes. So he won by 2.2 million votes. Now, that is not a mandate because half of the country did not vote for Trump. Okay? And when we analyze how black voter turnout shifted, it becomes clear why Trump publicly thanked black voters for his victory. Because again, so many black voters voted for him or didn't vote for Kamala, it literally gave him the victory. Let me explain that. Of the 17 or so million blacks who voted in 2024, 13% supported Trump. That is 2.2 million black votes for Trump. Meanwhile, 86% of black voters supported Kamala. That should have been 96%. But 86%, that is the majority, voted for Kamala. But here's where things changed. Trump gained significant ground among black men. Significant ground. Let me explain that. In 2016, for example, Trump received 13% of the black male vote. In 2024, that number jumped to 21%, almost doubled. That's an 8 percentage point increase in just 8 years. And that shift played a direct role in Trump's victory. Although Trump offered not one tangible in 2024, and the tangibles that he did do in 2016 have not really impacted the African American community. But the real problem isn't just who blacks voted for, it's how many blacks didn't vote at all. That is the real problem and the real opportunity. Okay? So here's the reality. There are approximately 34 million eligible black voters in the United States. Of those, 27 million are registered, which means 7 million eligible black voters are not even registered. 7 million eligible black voters are not even registered. That offers us a tremendous opportunity. And out of the 27 million registered Black voters, only 17 million actually voted. So that means 10 million Blacks did not vote in 2024. 10 million. 10 million registered Black voters stayed home. And that's why Trump thanked Black voters. Those 10 millions who stayed home and those voters who actually voted for him. So when you put it all together, here's the bottom line. 17 million Black voters who could have cast a ballot didn't. 17 million Black voters who could have voted. That is a combination of registered Black voters and eligible Black voters. 17 million of them, they could have cast a vote, but they didn't. That number alone could have changed the outcome of the election. I mean, completely changed it. Now, we know exactly what's coming. MAGA is already moving to lock in power for years to come. They want to seal their ability to attract Black voters or to keep Black voters home. And they are not just relying on low voter turnout. Okay? They know that there are a whole lot of Black folks who could register but aren't registered. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But what they're actively doing now is they're working to suppress our vote even further. Because again, they know they can win elections when 17 million African Americans can vote but didn't vote or don't vote. You see, all the hell that we are receiving from Trump and MAGA and Project 2025 and to come, we can't blame no one but ourselves, because we had the power in our hands to change this. And not only is it affecting us, but it's also affecting the country. Now, MAGA-controlled Congress has introduced the SAVE Act. I mentioned it earlier, and it stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, the SAFE Act. The law would require documentary proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote in federal elections. Let's be clear about what this means. States would be banned from registering voters unless they present official proof of citizenship. Only real ID compliant documents would be accepted. States would be forced to purge suspected non-citizens from voting rolls. Election officials could face criminal charges for even registering someone without the required documents. You see, this is not about stopping voter fraud, because voter fraud is already rare. This is about shrinking the electorate by making it harder for African Americans to vote. We already said that there are approximately 7 million African Americans who can register to vote but haven't. Well, if the SAVE Act is enacted, that's going to make it much harder for those African Americans to register. And we're not going to sit by and let this happen. All right? We're not going to let it happen. We cannot afford to sit back and watch as they implement and enact this SAVE Act. This is just more voter suppression. That's all it is. It is no different than poll taxes and literacy clauses of the 50s and 60s and the Jim Crow era. Now, here's how we fight back. All right? Step one, we must mobilize voter registration immediately. We need millions more Black voters registered before 2026, and we need to be working on it now. This is 2025, and it's already March of 2025. Next year, what? 9 months from now, they're going to be campaigning. And the election will occur in November of 2026. And there are already some races that are coming up within weeks that could enable us to take back the House. But we got to get more blacks registered. We cannot have 10 million blacks out of 45 million blacks unregistered to vote, and they're eligible to vote. We cannot do that, folks. So that work starts now. Step 2, we got to increase black voter turnout. 10 million registered black voters didn't vote in 2024. I'm going to keep saying that because I want you to understand that we could have easily put Kamala in office and protect our rights if more blacks were registered and those who are registered had voted. You see, it doesn't even matter if Trump increases his number of black male voters. We can drown them out. They can keep doing whatever they want to do. We can drown them out if we got more black voters registered and to the polls until those black male Trump voters see the light, if they ever do. Step 3, we got to combat voter suppression, things like the SAVE Act and other voter restrictions. All of them are designed to weaken our vote. We will make sure every black voter knows how to protect their right to vote. All of that is a part of Advance 2026. Okay? Step 4, we must adhere to, that is, be dedicated to our black political agenda, which is Advance 2026. No more waiting for politicians, be it Democrats or anyone else. No more waiting for politicians to tell us what they will do. We will work to get out the vote. We will work to register black voters. Step 5, drowning the media with truth and facts, because MAGA is a master. They are masterful at flooding the zone, as they call it, with anti-black and anti-democratic policies. MAGA wins when we are confused and uninformed. We win when we drown out that disinformation with truth and with facts. Step 6, practicing something I call impact voting. We are absolutely done with being used by either Democrats or Republicans, quite frankly. Black voters have the numbers to control the Democratic primaries and Congress. Again, we have 17 million folks, black people, who could vote that didn't vote, either because they just didn't vote or they hadn't registered. Okay? We only, going forward, will vote for candidates with a proven record of supporting black progress. Only vote for those candidates who support black progress. If we don't have those kinds of candidates, you know what we do? We recruit and run our own. I like to call them our neighbors. There are people that we know. There are people in our communities, people on our jobs, in our churches, who would be great candidates. And the wonderful thing is, we know them, they know us, they know our issues and what needs to be done, and they will go up there and fight for us. So if the kind of candidate that we need are not available, again, we recruit and run our own, who are what I call our neighbors. That's how we take control of our political destiny. This movement only works if we all take action. We all must get engaged and be involved. Now, here's what you need to do now. Just a few things I need you to do now so that I know that you hear me, that you're ready to fight, that you're ready to get to work. Because the best vision in the world will perish without people. Because people brings engagement and action and financial support. So go to our website at lljp.org. Sign up to be a part of Advance 2026. Now we are still modifying our Advance 2026 page. Nevertheless, please go there and join Advance 2026. I'd like to see 1,000 at least of you join that mailing list in response to this video. Also, donate to fuel this movement. I have been involved in activism for a long time, and what usually stops the best idea is a lack of funding. And that's especially true for African American organizations. Quite often, we just simply don't have the resources that our white counterparts have. They have billionaires who are just giving them all kind of money to promote and propagate a white supremacist agenda. Well, you still, though, can help us with Advance 2026 by giving your $5, your $10, your $50, your $100, your $200, whatever you can give. But we need the money to get this started in earnest. Your support help us get folks registered and help us spread the truth and help us fight voter suppression, disinformation, and so on. If you're already signed up, be on the lookout. We will be in touch because there's so much about our strategy that we cannot share on social media. So we're going to have private meetings. So stay in tune and in touch for those emails. We need every single African American person watching this video to take the next step. Don't just listen, but take the next step. Black voter turnout will decide 2026. Us. They know that our vote matters. It's time that we use it to our advantage, just like we do or starting to do now with our dollars. It makes me think about the Montgomery bus boycott that took place after Rosa Parks stood up and would not allow them to remove her or put her at the back of the bus. That started that bus boycott. And they went for over a year not riding those buses and brought that busing company to its knees, which caused the city of Montgomery to give them their demands. We can do the very same thing with our votes. Again, as we're starting to do with our dollars. Are you with me? You see, MAGA stays in power if we sit out. We can't do that. We cannot follow the advice of the pro-black imposters, this so-called new black media, by sitting out. That's what MAGA wants. That's what they think us for. That's why Trump said, "Thank you, black people." And then he turned right around and eviscerated and is emasculating many of those men economically and politically. So yes, MAGA stays in power if we sit out. But we can flip Congress if we show up. They want us to sit out. We got to show up in overwhelming numbers. Impact voting. No more sitting out. We got to show up. We're not waiting for someone to save us. We're not waiting for the cavalry. We have the power. I showed it to you. 17 million black Americans did not vote. We get those people, even a good fraction of those people, engaged. We control this thing. We control this, okay? So we're not falling for distractions anymore because we know now that weakens our political power. We are determining our own destiny by organizing, mobilizing, and voting in overwhelming numbers. Again, impact voting. So this is Advance 2026. The strategy is clear. The mission is urgent and critical. And the time is now. Right now. We can't wait. 2026 is coming right around the corner. So stay informed, stay engaged, stay woke, and also visit lljp.org, sign up, and make your donation today. Much love. I am Reverend and Civil Rights Attorney Augustus Corbett. Stay woke.